check this out. Finally, we have Tesla's new Model Y. It's finally facelifted. It's about time. It's been around for a long time now. And we're so used to seeing this design that it's really cool to see a refresh of, I think maybe this is Tesla's best-selling car. It's either this one or the Model 3. But honestly, this refresh, I think it looks very cool. It's interesting to see, though, how different this Model Y refresh looks, if specifically in the front end, compared to the Model 3 refresh. This is more of a Cybertruck implementation of the front end graphics, and we also have bumper headlights now for 2025. So we're going to have a look at this design in detail from a front, side, rear, and also the updated interior. Before we do that, let's have a look at this car and driver article and let's see what this is all about, what we know so far. We don't really know a lot. But the facelift of the 2025 Tesla Model Y, they call it the Juniper, finally revealed. The styling updates are similar to what the updated Model 3 sedan received last year. I'm not sure about that. As I said, not in the front end. This looks totally different, which is refreshing to see. Because the Model Y and the Model 3, the pre-facelift, they looked pretty much identical in the front end. So this separates them a little bit more. Now, it was launched quietly and without much fanfare on Tesla's China consumer site. The updated Model Y features a far more fetching look than the outgoing model. I think it looks a lot more upscale now. I'm very intrigued by this light bar in the rear. It looks like it has a strange light effect to it. It almost looks like a 3D light bar in the rear end. I'm looking forward to seeing this in real life and really analyze the taillights here for this Model Y. The SUV's front bumper has been smoothed out, and new squintier headlamps flow into a new light bar. Yes, we have light bars both in the front and in the rear. I mean, you know the trend right now. Light bar still very, very strong trend. You have the front end also light bar runs the width of the front trunk lid. The rear end receives a similar lighting treatment with a full-width red tail lamp across the Model Y's hatchback. The rest of the design, as you know, this is just a facelift, so looking at it here from a side view, they did not change the doors, they didn't change the rear fender or the greenhouse. Everything in the side view looks pretty much the same. Upgrades include, for the interior here, you have ventilated available option, ventilated front seats, a redesigned steering wheel, and that is something that was definitely needed for the Model 3 and the Model Y. The old steering wheel just looked very, very cheap. This looks a little better than that. And you also have rear seat display for the back seat passenger. The rear screen doubles as a panel for a climate control and as an entertainment display for games and video content. And instead of the Model 3 steering wheel mounted buttons for the turn signal, it looks here like we still have the stock type lever for the turn signals, and that is something that I definitely prefer to have. It just feels more natural when you're turning. So we have no performance trim. So this was, as I said, unveiled at the Chinese Tesla website, and they don't have the Tesla Model Y performance available there. But since it's selling so well here in the United States, it's most likely going to be a new, Juniper Tesla Model Y performance further down the road. Pricing for this, we don't expect it to be increased a lot over the base price for the Model Y right now, which starts at $44,630. And it's supposed to come over here. Let's see. It's imminent, so we should know more about the refreshed SUV within the next few months. All the spec and tech and all the trim. If we're still going to have a long range, if we're going to have a base model now, rear-wheel drive maybe, and also a performance. So with that said, let's jump in to Photoshop here and let's check out this design. Because this, to me, right now, the Model Y, it looks this is a clean refresh. I really like what Tesla did here with this design because it feels much more upscale, and it also has a connection to the Cybertruck in the front end. Check this out. We have this light bar right here, both in the front and in the rear. So they must have changed, redesigned, or new pieces include, for example, the hood here. We also have a brand new front fascia, obviously. So all of these pieces in the front is basically brand new. Nothing's taken over here from the current Model Y. I like the light bar. I'm wondering where the indicator light is going to be, if it's going to sit down here or if this piece is going to be the indicator light. I'm thinking that this piece in the corner is probably going to be the indicator light itself. Down low we have the this is most likely the headlights down there at the bottom in the bumper. So Tesla jumped on the trend to implement the headlights in the bumpers. We have bumper headlights here, and I think looking at it like this, it looks more like a Model X now, and that is a good thing because the Model X in the front end has a much more it feels like a much more quality design in the front end, and this looks similar to that. We have this line down here in the side cutting in, creating an air vent right here, air funnel in the side of the front end that then probably shoots out in the wheel well. We have the cooling down low, very clean design. One simple opening down here at the very bottom of the design to add some cooling for the batteries. But honestly, if you squint your eyes like this, it definitely looks like a Model X to me. Now looking at the side view, not a lot of changes here, and they don't really need to have a lot of changes here because when Tesla designed the Model 3 and the Model Y, and specifically the S, I mean, it came out in 2012 or 2013, what they had in mind was we need to have, they knew that these designs are going to be in production for a very, very long time because it's a brand new company. They can't afford to just spit out new models every 5 years. So they wanted to have the design be very, very conservative. And you can see that today, even after this many years, this still looks like a very clean looking design that definitely has a lot of modern features to it. The only thing I don't like about the Model Y is that it feels like they just took a Model 3 and just lifted it up, and the proportions look a little off to me. But the thing about this, if you've driven both the Model Y and the Model 3, the seating position in the Model 3 feels completely different from the Model Y. Even though they look very similar on the exterior design, you definitely sit more upright in a Model Y, and it definitely feels more like an SUV. I think that was an important piece to separate the feeling when you're sitting in these cars from the Model 3 and the Model Y. Now looking at the rear end here, this is probably the most interesting design change for the new Juniper. Look at this light bar. I can't tell what's going on here. If it's a light bar that sits deep inside here and has a thicker piece in the middle, and then it fades out a little bit on the sides here. Looks like it has a rectangle going around it where the light bar sits within. And I think that this is most likely the indicator lights right here. Maybe you have these being the reverse lights at the bottom, or I don't think we have any lights down low at the bottom either. So all the light settings has to be implemented in this piece in the rear end. Again, I think it looks very cool. It definitely brings up the quality vibe for the design, and it looks a lot more high-end than the current Tesla Model Y, that's for sure. I've always been a fan of the Model 3 design because we have this beautiful ducktail in the rear end, still intact here, of course, and we have that same ducktail here on the Model Y as well. Looks like we have a new diffuser down low, a little bit more aggressive. Not sure what the performance diffuser is going to look like. Hopefully they switch out a little bit for the performance. Obviously, we're going to get new wheels when the performance model comes out. These are just looking like the long-range wheels or something like that. And last but not least, we have the interior. Now, Tesla was, I think they were probably the first ones to have this extremely minimalistic interior. And that is also, of course, to save a lot of cost when they were supposed to mass produce the Model 3 and when that went into production. So now it's still a very minimalistic looking design in the interior, of course. We have a new screen. I think the framing for the screen here is a lot thinner than what we have on the current Model Y. It looks pretty decent. The integration is still, it's a Tesla integration. You're going to have it just floating there in midair, but I guess that's totally fine. Everybody's used to it by now. We have the new steering wheel, and look at the design of the steering wheel. Compare it to the current steering wheel. You can see that this definitely has much more of a uniqueness to it. It feels like they actually the interior design actually put in some effort into making this a specific Tesla steering wheel, not just some generic looking thing. I like that it says Tesla in the middle here as well. I can't really see the indicator stock here. Maybe we can find another picture of the indicator stock. But they said that they still have an indicator stock and not have the indicator buttons integrated in the wheel like we have on the Model 3. And again, that is what I prefer, to have the regular stock. We also have this new line here, which is ambient lighting for the interior. Again, just adding some more quality feel and bringing the Model Y into what all the rest of the competition is doing. Pretty much every single new car today have some sort of ambient lighting for the interior with LED strips, so they kind of have to put that in there. You have wireless charging pads here. New lid looks like for the storage in the middle, and a typical armrest. The seats are brand new as well, looking very clean, and also adding some uniqueness to the Tesla Model Y here. So overall, this refresh is definitely needed for Tesla. I think they also probably need to refresh the Model X pretty soon, but I think they're focusing on the two main, the best-selling products that they have, which is the Model Y and the Model 3, first of all, before they jump into the Model X. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the Model S. If you look at the body lines of the Model S, that's been around since 2012, and that is a very, very long time for any car by any brand to be in production. So I'm not sure what Tesla's plans are moving forward with the Model X and the Model S. But for this redesign, I'm definitely looking forward to walking around this car, and specifically to go in the back and just feel the light bar and how the 3D effects in the rear. That's what I'm really looking forward to see how this light bar is implemented in the rear, because I can't really see how they did it here on the pictures.